Worksheet number 2, chemical names and formulas. Now questions for ionic compound. Ionic compound, metal or positive charge with non-metal or negative charge. What are the rules for ionic compound? To write the name, you have to write the name of metal then non-metal. If the metal is a transition metal, you have to write the charge, and the root of the name of the non-metal end with IDE. So the first example, Fe for iron. Iron, it's a transition metal, so you have to write the charge. And S sulfur, it's a non-metal, so end with IDE, sulfide. So how to get the charge of iron? In this compound, you have 3 iron atoms and 3 sulfur atoms. Sulfur is in group 6 in the periodic table, so the ion carry -2 charge. -2, and this sulfur -2, -2. So the total negative charge is -6. It's a neutral compound, so total negative charge must be equal to the total positive charge. So you have here 2 iron atoms with total positive 6. So each iron atom carry positive 3 charge. Now B, Al for aluminum. And NO3, it's a polyatomic ion for nitrate. Now C, CuO, Cu for copper. Copper, it's a transition metal, so you have to write the charge. And oxygen is a non-metal, so the name must end with IDE, oxide. So what is the charge for copper? Here in the example, you have 1 atom of copper and 1 atom of oxygen. Oxygen is in group 6 in the periodic table, so it carry -2 charge. So what is the charge of copper? Is +2. Why? Because total positive charge must be equal to the total negative charge, because it's a neutral compound. Now D, MgCO3. Mg for magnesium. And CO3, it's a polyatomic ion carbonate. Now CrCl3. Cr for chromium. It's a transition metal, so you have to write the charge. And Cl, it's a non-metal, it must end with IDE, so chloride. So what is the charge of chromium? Here in this compound, you have 1 chromium atom and 3 chloride atoms. So chlorine is in group 7 in the periodic table. The ion carry -1 charge, so each carry -1. So the total negative charge is -3. So the total positive charge must be equal to +3. You have 1 chromium atom with charge +3. Now Fe, iron. It's a transition metal, so you have to write the charge. And PO4, it's a polyatomic ion phosphate. So here the ratio between iron and polyatomic ion phosphate 1 to 1. One group of phosphate it's carry -3 charge, so iron must carry +3 charge. Now question 2, write the formula and give the name for the compounds. So here copper with +2 and Br with -1. So you have to multiply Cu by 1 and Br by 2. What is the name? Cu for copper, the charge is +2, and Br, it's a non-metal, so end with IDE. So copper 2 bromide. B, NH4 with +1 and S with -2. You have to multiply NH4 by 2. Because it's a polyatomic ion, you have to put it in between brackets. NH4 by 2 and sulfur by 1. So the name is ammonium sulfide. Now Fe +2 and oxygen -2. If positive charge equal to the negative charge, they cancel each other, so the ratio 1:1. So the compound is FeO. So the name is iron. It's a transition metal, so you have to write the charge. The charge is +2 and oxygen non-metal end with IDE oxide. Now K +1 and PO4 -3. You have to multiply K by 3 and PO4 by 1. So the name is potassium phosphate. Now Cr +3 and NO3 -1. You have to multiply Cr by 1 and NO3 by 3. Because it's a polyatomic ion, you have first to put it in between brackets, then multiply by 3. So the name is chromium. The charge of chromium is +3. Nitrate. Now Li +1 and SO4 -2. You have to multiply lithium by 2 and SO4 by 1. So the name is lithium sulfate. Now questions for covalent compound. You have to remember covalent compound, non-metal with non-metal. So what are the rules? To write the name, you have to use prefix to indicate the number of each element. So here nitrogen, you have 1 nitrogen atom. We don't use mono for the first element, so direct nitrogen. Here F, you have 3 atoms of fluorine, so tri, and the second element must end with IDE, fluoride. Now I, Cl3, I for iodine, Cl, you have 3 atoms of chloride, so trichloride. P, Br5, P for phosphorus. you have 5 bromine atoms, so penta bromide. Nitrogen, you have 2 nitrogen atoms, so di nitrogen, and you have 4 oxygen atoms, so tetroxide. Here CH4, the common name for CH4 is methane. Now the reverse. You have the name and you have to write the formula. Sulfur trioxide. Sulfur, you have 1 sulfur atom. Trioxide, you have 3 oxygen atoms. Carbon monoxide. Carbon, you have 1 carbon atom. Monoxide, 1 oxygen atom. Dinitrogen tetrasulfide. Dinitrogen, you have 2 nitrogen atoms. Tetrasulfide, you have 4 sulfur atoms. Nitrogen triodide. Nitrogen, you have 1. Triodide, you have 3 iodine atoms. Phosphorus pentachloride. Phosphorus, you have P, 1 phosphorus atom, and pentachloride, you have 5 chlorine atom.